Maya Johnson woke up at exactly 6:30 a.m., just like she did every Tuesday morning. Her alarm clock buzzed softly on the nightstand next to her bed. She stretched her arms and looked around her small apartment. The morning sunlight came through, the white curtains making everything look bright and peaceful. She got out of bed and walked to her closet. Maya always picked her work clothes very carefully. Today was special because she had to give a big presentation to the company's most important clients. She chose a crisp white blouse and a cream-colored blazer that made her look professional and confident. She looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. At 28 years old, Maya had worked very hard to get where she was in her career. Maya made herself a cup of coffee in her small kitchen. She lived alone in this apartment and she liked the quiet mornings. While drinking her coffee, she thought about her presentation. She had spent weeks preparing for this moment. If everything went well today, she might finally get the promotion she had been hoping for. After finishing her coffee, Maya grabbed her purse and checked that she had everything she needed. Her laptop, her presentation notes, and her business cards were all inside. She looked at the expensive watch on her wrist, a gift from someone very special to her. Maya never told anyone at work about her personal life. She preferred to keep work and home completely separate. The bus ride to work took 20 minutes. Maya sat by the window and watched the city wake up. People were walking to work, children were going to school, and cars filled the busy streets. She thought about how far she had come since starting as an intern at Peterson Marketing Agency 3 years ago. When Maya arrived at the office building, she took a deep breath. The Peterson Marketing Agency was on the 15th floor of a tall glass building in the heart of the city. Maya walked through the lobby and pressed the elevator button. She always felt a little nervous before big days like this, but she was also excited. The elevator doors opened on the 15th floor and Maya stepped out into the office. The Peterson Marketing Agency had an open office design, which meant everyone could see everyone else working. Maya's desk was in the middle of the room, surrounded by other employees' desks. She liked her workspace because it was organized and clean. "Good morning, Maya," said Tom, one of her co-workers, as she walked past his desk. "Good morning, Tom," Maya replied with a smile. Tom was always friendly to her, unlike some other people in the office. Maya sat down at her desk and turned on her computer. She had several family photos on her desk, but she always kept them face down. She learned early in her career that some people asked too many personal questions, and Maya didn't want to answer them. As Maya organized her desk for the day, she noticed two women talking near the coffee machine. Sarah Chen was the office manager, and Jessica Martinez was a senior account executive. Both women had worked at the company longer than Maya, and they often made comments about her clothes, her confidence, and how quickly she was moving up in the company. Maya tried not to listen to their conversation, but their voices were getting louder. "Some people just don't understand how to act in an office," Sarah was saying to Jessica. "I know exactly what you mean," Jessica replied. "It's like they think they're better than everyone else." Maya felt uncomfortable, but she continued setting up her workspace. She had learned to ignore comments like these. In her 3 years at the company, she had heard many similar conversations. Some people seemed to have a problem with her success, but Maya never let it stop her from working hard. Mr. Davidson, Maya's supervisor, walked past her desk carrying a cup of coffee. He was a tall man in his 50s who always wore expensive suits. Lately, Mr. Davidson had been more critical of Maya's work, even though her performance was always excellent. Maya suspected that someone had been saying negative things about her to him, but she had no proof. "Maya," Mr. Davidson stopped at her desk. "Are you ready for the presentation today?" "Yes, sir," Maya replied confidently. "I've prepared everything, and I'm excited to show the clients what we can do for them." Mr. Davidson nodded, but Maya noticed he didn't look very enthusiastic. "Well, let's hope everything goes smoothly," he said before walking away. Maya watched him go and felt a little worried. She had worked on this presentation for weeks and she knew it was very good. The client was a big technology company that could bring a lot of money to Peterson Marketing Agency. If Maya impressed them today, it would be a huge success for her career. She opened her laptop and looked at her presentation slides one more time. Everything looked perfect. The charts were clear, the colors were professional, and her ideas were creative and smart. Maya had even practiced her speech several times at home to make sure she wouldn't be nervous. At 9 a.m., more employees started arriving at the office. The room became busier and noisier. Maya could hear people talking about their weekends, their families, and their work projects. She tried to focus on her own work, but she kept noticing Sarah and Jessica looking at her and whispering to each other. Maya decided she needed another cup of coffee before the presentation. She stood up from her desk and walked toward the break room. The break room was a small space with a coffee machine, a microwave, and a refrigerator. It was where employees went to relax and talk during their breaks. As Maya poured coffee into her favorite mug, she thought about how much her life had changed in the past few years. She had grown up in a small town, and her parents had worked very hard to send her to college. Maya was the first person in her family to get a university degree, and she was proud of what she had accomplished. But Maya had a secret that nobody at work knew about. She was married to a very successful businessman, but she never told anyone because she wanted to succeed on her own. She didn't want people to think she got her job because of her husband's connections. Maya worked hard every day to prove that she deserved her position at the company. Looking at her watch, Maya saw that it was 9:15 a.m. The presentation was scheduled for 10:30 a.m., which gave her just over an hour to make final preparations. She felt confident and ready. Maya had no idea that this ordinary Tuesday morning was about to change her life forever. As she stood in the break room holding her coffee mug, Maya heard footsteps behind her. She turned around and saw Sarah and Jessica walking toward her with big smiles on their faces. Their smiles looked fake and unfriendly, and Maya felt something was wrong. "Good morning, Maya," Sarah said in a voice that sounded too sweet. "Are you ready for your big presentation today?" "Yes, I am," Maya replied carefully. She had learned to be cautious around these two women. "That's wonderful," Jessica added. "We're all so excited to see how it goes." Maya noticed that both women were holding drinks and Jessica had a full can of Coca-Cola in her hand. Something about the situation made Maya feel nervous, but she couldn't understand why. She just knew that she needed to be very careful around Sarah and Jessica. The morning sun continued to shine through the office windows, and Maya had no idea that her ordinary Tuesday was about to become the most important day of her career. Maya felt her heart beating faster as Sarah and Jessica stood in the break room doorway. Their smiles looked fake, like actors in a bad movie. Maya gripped her coffee mug tighter and tried to stay calm. She had dealt with these two women for many months and she knew they didn't like her. "Maya, you look so professional today," Jessica said, looking at Maya's white blouse and cream blazer. "That's such a beautiful outfit. It must have cost a lot of money." "Thank you," Maya replied quietly. She didn't want to have a long conversation with them. She just wanted to finish her coffee and go back to her desk to prepare for the presentation. Sarah stepped closer to Maya, still holding her drink. "You know, Maya, we were just talking about how some people in this office think they're better than everyone else." Maya's stomach felt tight. She knew they were talking about her, but she didn't want to start an argument. "I don't think I'm better than anyone," Maya said softly. "I just try to do my job well." "Oh, but that's not what it looks like," Jessica said, her voice becoming sharper. "You walk around here with your expensive clothes and your fancy handbag. You act like you own this place." Maya looked at both women carefully. She could see the anger in their eyes, even though they were still smiling. "I work hard for everything I have," Maya said, "just like everyone else here." Sarah laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. "Work hard? Please. Some of us have been here much longer than you, and we don't get the special treatment you get." "What? Special treatment?" Maya asked, feeling confused and frustrated. "Don't act like you don't know," Jessica said. "Mr. Davidson always gives you the best projects. You get to work with the biggest clients. It's not fair to the rest of us who have been here longer." Maya felt angry, but she tried to stay calm. "I get those projects because I do good work. I bring in new clients and I meet all my deadlines." "Sure you do," Sarah said sarcastically. I'm sure it has nothing to do with how you dress or how you talk. Some people just know how to play the game better than others. Maya realized that, no matter what she said, these women would always find something wrong with her. They were jealous of her success and they wanted to make her feel bad about herself. I think I should get back to my desk, Maya said, trying to end the conversation. I have a lot of work to do before my presentation. Oh yes, your big presentation, Jessica said, her eyes lighting up with a mean look. The one that could get you promoted. That would be something, wouldn't it? A promotion after only 3 years. Some of us have been waiting much longer for promotions, Sarah added. But I guess some people just get lucky. Maya started to walk toward the door, but Jessica suddenly moved to block her way. Wait, Maya, before you go, could you help us with something? Maya stopped and looked at Jessica suspiciously. What do you need? Jessica pointed to a high shelf above the coffee machine. There's a box of supplies up there that we need to get. Down. You're taller than us. Could you reach it for us? Maya looked at the shelf. There was indeed a small box up there, but something felt wrong about the situation. However, she didn't want to be rude to her co-workers, even if they were being mean to her. Okay, Maya said reluctantly. She walked over to the shelf and reached up toward the box. As Maya stretched her arm up high, she heard Sarah whisper something to Jessica behind her. Maya couldn't hear what they said, but she felt more nervous than before. Just a little higher, Jessica said. You almost have it. Maya stood on her tiptoes and reached as high as she could. Just as her fingers touched the box, she heard Jessica gasp loudly behind her. Oh no, Jessica shouted. I'm so clumsy. Suddenly, Maya felt something cold and wet splash all over her back and side. She spun around quickly and saw Jessica standing there with an empty Coca-Cola can in her hand. The dark, sticky liquid was dripping down Maya's white blouse and cream blazer. The cola was soaking through her clothes and onto her skin. Maya stood there in shock, looking down at her ruined outfit. The brown stains were spreading across the white fabric, and the sweet smell of cola filled the air. Her beautiful, professional clothes were completely destroyed. Oh my goodness, Maya, Jessica exclaimed, putting her hand over her mouth. I'm so sorry. I was backing up to give you more room and I tripped over my own feet. It was a complete accident. Sarah gasped and put her hands to her cheeks. Maya, look at your clothes. This is terrible. And right before the big presentation, too. Maya couldn't speak for a moment. She felt the cold, sticky liquid running down her clothes and dripping onto the floor. Her heart was pounding and her face felt hot with embarrassment and anger. I can't believe this happened, Jessica continued, but Maya could hear something fake in her voice. What awful timing. Your presentation is in just over an hour. Maya looked at Jessica's face and saw something that made her stomach drop. Jessica was trying to look sorry, but Maya could see a small smile at the corner of her mouth. Sarah was also trying to look concerned, but her eyes looked satisfied, like she was happy about what had happened. That's when Maya realized the truth. This wasn't an accident at all. Jessica had done this on purpose. They had planned this whole thing to ruin her presentation and humiliate her in front of everyone. Maya felt like crying, but she refused to let them see her breakdown. She had worked too hard and come too far to let these mean women destroy her confidence. It's okay, Maya said quietly, even though her voice was shaking a little. Accidents happen. But as she said the words, Maya saw Jessica and Sarah exchange a quick look. It was just for a second, but Maya saw the satisfaction in their eyes. They were proud of what they had done. Other people from the office started coming into the break room to see what had happened. Maya heard people gasping and making sympathetic sounds, but she also heard some people whispering and laughing quietly. Maya, what happened to you? Asked Tom, looking genuinely concerned. Just a small accident, Maya replied, trying to sound normal. Nothing serious. But Maya knew it was serious. Her clothes were ruined, she smelled like cola, and her presentation was in less than an hour. She didn't have time to go home and change, and she didn't have extra clothes at the office. Maya grabbed some paper towels and started trying to clean the cola off her clothes. But it was no use. The stains were too big and too dark. The liquid had soaked all the way through to her skin. As Maya dabbed at the stains with paper towels, She could hear Sarah and Jessica behind her, still pretending to be sorry. "Is there anything we can do to help?" Sarah asked in a fake sweet voice. "Maybe you should call in sick today," Jessica suggested. "You can't give a presentation looking like that." Maya turned around to face them. She saw the mean satisfaction in their eyes, even though they were still pretending to be helpful. At that moment, Maya made a decision. She would not let them win. She would not give up on her presentation or her career because of their jealousy and cruelty. But first, she needed help, and there was only one person she could call. Maya walked quickly to the bathroom, her wet clothes sticking to her skin. Each step made a small squishing sound, and she could feel the sticky cola getting worse. The smell was becoming stronger too, sweet and unpleasant. Maya tried to hold back her tears as she pushed open the bathroom door. The bathroom was empty and quiet. Maya looked at herself in the mirror and felt her heart sink. The damage was even worse than she had thought. The dark brown stains covered most of her white blouse, and her cream blazer looked completely ruined. Some of the cola had even gotten in her hair, making it sticky and messy. Maya turned on the cold water and grabbed a handful of paper towels. She wet them and started trying to clean the stains from her clothes. But the more she rubbed, the worse it got. The cola had soaked deep into the fabric, and the stains were spreading instead of coming out. "This is not happening," Maya whispered to herself. "Not today. Not before the most important presentation of my career." Maya looked at her watch. It was 9:30 a.m. now. The presentation was at 10:30 a.m., which gave her exactly 1 hour. There was no way she could go home and change clothes and come back in time. She lived 30 minutes away from the office, and even if she took a taxi, she would never make it back in time. Maya felt panic rising in her chest. She had worked so hard for this opportunity. The client she was meeting with today represented the biggest account the company had ever had a chance to win. If she impressed them, she would finally get the promotion she deserved. But how could she present to important business people while looking like this? Maya tried washing her blouse in the sink, but the water just made the stains lighter brown, instead of removing them. Her hands were shaking as she realized that Sarah and Jessica had successfully ruined her big day. They had planned this perfectly, waiting until it was too late for her to recover. Maya sat down on the small chair in the corner of the bathroom and put her face in her hands. For a moment, she let herself feel the full weight of what had happened. These women had deliberately tried to destroy her career because they were jealous of her success. They had pretended to be sorry while watching her suffer. But then Maya remembered who she was. She was a strong woman who had worked her way up from nothing. She had faced challenges before, and she had always found a way to overcome them. She wasn't going to let two mean women stop her now. Maya pulled out her phone and stared at it for a long moment. She didn't like asking for help, especially during work hours. But this was an emergency, and there was only one person who could help her quickly. Maya took a deep breath and dialed a number she knew by heart. The phone rang once, twice, and then she heard a familiar deep voice. "Hello, Maya. How is your day going?" The voice asked warmly. "Marcus," Maya said quietly, "I need to ask you for a big favor, and I need you to promise me you won't get upset or overreact." There was a pause on the other end of the line. Maya could hear the sound of papers rustling and the quiet hum of a busy office in the background. "Maya, what's wrong?" Marcus asked, and she could hear the concern in his voice immediately. "You sound upset. Are you hurt?" "I'm not hurt," Maya said quickly. "But something happened at work, and I need your help. I have my big presentation in 1 hour, and I don't have anything appropriate to wear." "What do you mean? What happened to your clothes?" Maya hesitated. She knew that if she told Marcus exactly what had happened, he would be very angry. Marcus was protective of her, and he didn't like it when people treated her badly. "Someone spilled soda on my outfit," Maya said, trying to sound casual. "It was just an accident, but my clothes are ruined. I was wondering if you could maybe send someone to bring me something clean to wear. I know it's a lot to ask during your busy day." There was silence on the other end of the line. Maya could almost hear Marcus thinking. She knew he was trying to decide whether to believe that it was really just an accident. "Maya," Marcus said slowly, Tell me exactly what happened, and don't leave anything out. Maya closed her eyes. She knew that tone of voice. Marcus was using his business voice, the one he used when he was trying to solve a problem, and wouldn't accept anything less than the complete truth. It's really not a big deal, Maya said. I was in the break room, and one of my coworkers accidentally spilled her drink on me. These things happen in busy offices. I just need clean clothes, not a rescue operation. Which coworker? Marcus asked immediately. Marcus, please don't make this into something bigger than it is. I just need help with clothes, and then I can handle everything else myself. Maya heard Marcus moving around in his office. She could hear him talking to someone, probably his assistant, but she couldn't make out the words. Maya, you're my wife, Marcus said firmly. Nothing about your well-being is ever not a big deal to me. Which building are you in again? Maya felt a mix of relief and worry. She was grateful that Marcus was willing to help her, but she was also afraid of what he might do if he found out the truth about what had happened. I'm at Peterson Marketing on 5th Street, Maya said. But Marcus, I'm serious. Please don't turn this into a big dramatic thing. I just need clothes so I can give my presentation. I'll take care of it personally, Marcus said, and Maya could hear the determination in his voice. And Maya, I want you to tell me everything when I see you, everything that really happened. Maya felt her stomach tighten. She knew Marcus well enough to know that he had already figured out this wasn't just a simple accident. He was too smart and too experienced in business to believe that story. You don't need to come personally, Maya said. You could just send someone with clothes. I know how busy you are. Maya, I'm coming, Marcus said simply. I'll be there in 20 minutes. After Marcus hung up, Maya stared at her phone. She had mixed feelings about what was going to happen next. On one hand, she was relieved that Marcus was coming to help her. On the other hand, she was worried about what he would do when he found out the truth. Maya had never told anyone at work that she was married to Marcus Johnson. She had her reasons for keeping that secret. Marcus was a very successful businessman who owned many companies. If her coworkers knew she was married to him, they might think she only got her job because of his connections. Maya wanted to succeed on her own merit, not because of her husband's money and influence. But now, in less than 20 minutes, Marcus was going to walk into her office. Everyone would see him, and her secret would be out. Maya wasn't sure if she was ready for that. Maya looked at herself in the mirror one more time. Her clothes were still stained and wet, her hair was still sticky, and she still smelled like cola. But there was something different in her eyes now. She looked determined and strong, not defeated. Maya walked back to her desk, ignoring the stares and whispers from her co-workers. Sarah and Jessica were still near the coffee machine, pretending to work, but obviously watching her. Maya sat down at her desk and opened her laptop. If Marcus was coming to help her, then she was going to make sure she was ready to give the best presentation of her life. She wasn't going to let Sarah and Jessica's cruelty destroy her dreams. And she had a feeling that when Marcus arrived, things at Peterson Marketing were about to change forever. Maya sat at her desk, trying to focus on her presentation notes while ignoring the whispers around her. The cola stains on her clothes had dried a little, but they looked even worse now. Dark brown marks all over her white blouse. Every few minutes, she caught people staring at her and then quickly looking away. Sarah and Jessica were still by the coffee machine, pretending to have normal conversations. But Maya could see them watching her from the corner of their eyes. They looked pleased with themselves, like they had won some kind of game. Maya checked her watch. It was 9:50 a.m. Marcus had said he would be there in 20 minutes, which meant he should arrive any moment now. Maya felt nervous about what would happen when he walked into the office. She had kept their marriage secret for 2 whole years, and now everything was about to change. Mr. Davidson walked by her desk again, carrying more papers. This time he stopped and looked down at Maya's stained clothes with a frown. Maya, you can't possibly give the presentation looking like that, he said, shaking his head. Maybe we should reschedule with the clients. No, sir, Maya said firmly. I'll find a solution. The presentation will happen as planned. Mr. Davidson looked doubtful. Maya, these are very important clients. First impressions matter in business. If you show up looking unprofessional, it could hurt our chances of getting their account. Maya felt frustrated. She knew Mr. Davidson was right about first impressions, but she also knew that rescheduling would give Sarah and Jessica exactly what they wanted. They would celebrate their victory, and Maya would lose her chance at the promotion. "I understand, sir," Maya said, "but I promise everything will be fine." Mr. Davidson shrugged and walked away, but Maya could see he didn't believe her. Around the office, other people were starting to whisper more loudly. Some of them seemed to feel sorry for Maya, but others looked like they thought it was funny. Maya tried to ignore everyone and focus on her computer screen. She reviewed her presentation, slides one more time, making sure every detail was perfect. Even if she couldn't look professional, she could still give the best presentation of her life. At exactly 10 a.m., Maya heard a soft ding from the elevator. She looked up, and her heart started beating faster. Through the glass doors of the office, she could see a tall man in an expensive dark suit walking toward the reception desk. It was Marcus. Maya had seen her husband in business mode many times before, but it never failed to impress her. Marcus Johnson was 35 years old, tall and confident, with the kind of presence that made people pay attention wherever he went. His suit was perfectly tailored, his shoes were polished, and he carried himself like someone who was used to being in charge. The receptionist at the front desk looked confused as Marcus approached. Maya could see the young woman trying to figure out who this important-looking man was and why he was there. "I'm here to see Maya Johnson," Marcus said in his calm, professional voice. Maya watched as the receptionist pointed toward her desk. Marcus thanked the woman politely and started walking across the open office space toward Maya. As Marcus walked through the office, something amazing happened. Every single conversation stopped. People who had been typing on their computers looked up. Phone calls were put on hold. The entire office became completely silent as everyone watched this impressive man walk purposefully toward Maya's desk. Maya could see the confusion on people's faces. Who was this man? Why was he here? And why was he looking for Maya? Sarah and Jessica, who had been whispering by the coffee machine, now stood frozen with their mouths open. Their eyes followed Marcus as he crossed the room, and Maya could see the shock on their faces. Marcus reached Maya's desk and set down a black garment bag that he had been carrying. He looked at Maya's stained clothes, and Maya saw his jaw tighten, slightly. She knew that look. Marcus was angry, but he was controlling his emotions like he always did in business situations. "Mrs. Johnson," Marcus said clearly, and his voice carried across the silent office. "I brought you the clothes you requested." The reaction in the office was immediate. Maya heard several people gasp quietly. Someone dropped a pen on the floor. "Mrs. Johnson?" Maya could see people's eyes getting wide as they realized what Marcus had just said. Maya felt her face getting warm. After 2 years of keeping her marriage secret, everyone now knew that she was married to this obviously important and wealthy man. "Thank you for coming so quickly," Maya said softly. "You really didn't need to make the trip personally." Marcus leaned down to get a closer look at the stains on her clothes. Maya could see him examining the damage carefully, like he was solving a puzzle. His eyes moved from the stains to Sarah and Jessica, who were still standing frozen by the coffee machine. "Actually, I think I did need to come personally," Marcus said, straightening up. "We should talk privately before your presentation." Maya nodded and started to stand up, but before she could move, Mr. Davidson appeared beside her desk. Maya had never seen her supervisor look so nervous. His face was red and there were beads of sweat on his forehead. "Mr. Johnson," Mr. Davidson said in a shaky voice, "what an incredible honor to have you visit our agency. I'm Robert Davidson, Maya's supervisor. Is there anything at all that we can do for you today?" Maya watched as Marcus turned his attention to Mr. Davidson. Marcus looked at him with the same calm, measuring expression he used when he was evaluating a business deal. "Yes, actually," Marcus said slowly. "I would like to speak with you about the work environment here. Specifically, I'd like to discuss what happened to my wife this morning." The color completely disappeared from Mr. Davidson's face. Maya could see him trying to understand what was happening. Around the office, Maya heard the soft sounds of people pulling out their phones. "Your wife?" Mr. Davidson repeated weakly. "Maya Johnson is my wife," Marcus said clearly, "and someone in this office deliberately destroyed her clothes right before the most important presentation of her career." Maya heard someone in the office make a small choking sound. She turned and saw that several people were frantically typing on their phones. Maya realized they were probably searching for information about Marcus Johnson online. Within moments, Maya heard quiet gasps coming from different parts of the office. She knew that people were discovering exactly who Marcus was and how much money he had. The whispers started again, but now they sounded different. Instead of gossip about Maya's stained clothes, people were talking about her mysterious billionaire husband. Sarah and Jessica were still standing by the coffee machine, but now they looked terrified instead of pleased. Maya could see them whispering urgently to each other, probably trying to figure out how much trouble they were in. Marcus looked around the office calmly, taking in everyone's reactions. Maya could see him noticing the guilt on certain faces and the fear in certain eyes. Marcus was very good at reading people, and Maya knew he was already understanding exactly what had really happened that morning. "I think we need to have a serious conversation," Marcus said to Mr. Davidson, "about respect, about professional behavior, and about the future of this company." Maya felt a mix of emotions as she watched her husband take control of the situation. She was grateful for his help, but she was also worried about what he was planning to do next. The office remained completely silent as everyone waited to see what would happen next. Marcus Johnson stood in the center of the office, looking around at all the employees with calm, serious eyes. Maya had seen this look before when Marcus was making important business decisions. He was thinking carefully about what to do next, and Maya knew that whatever he decided would change everything. The office was so quiet that Maya could hear the air conditioning humming and the soft ticking of the wall clock. Everyone was staring at Marcus, waiting to see what this powerful man would do. Some people looked curious, others looked worried, and Sarah and Jessica looked absolutely terrified. Marcus walked slowly toward the break room, his expensive shoes making soft clicking sounds on the office floor. Everyone's eyes followed him as he moved. When he reached the doorway of the break room, he stopped and looked inside as if he was examining a crime scene. "I want to understand something," Marcus said, his voice carrying clearly to every corner of the office. "My wife has worked here for over 2 years. She has always done excellent work, brought in new clients, and never missed a day. Her performance reviews have been perfect." Maya watched as Mr. Davidson shifted nervously from one foot to the other. Sweat was now visible on his forehead and his hands were shaking slightly. "Yet somehow," Marcus continued, "this morning, right before the most important presentation of her career, my wife ended up covered in cola, and I'm told this was just an unfortunate accident." Marcus turned to face the entire office. Maya could see that he was using the same commanding presence that had made him successful in business. When Marcus spoke, people listened. "I've been in business for 15 years, Marcus said. "I've learned to read people very well. I can usually tell the difference between an accident and something that was done on purpose." Sarah made a small, whimpering sound, and Jessica looked like she might faint. Maya saw them looking at each other with panic in their eyes. Marcus walked over to where Sarah and Jessica were standing. They both tried to step backward, but there was nowhere to go. The coffee machine was behind them and Marcus was in front of them. "Ladies," Marcus said politely, "I believe you were present when this accident happened. Would you like to explain to me exactly how my wife ended up soaked in soda?" Jessica's voice came out as barely a whisper. "It was completely accidental, Mr. Johnson. I tripped and spilled my drink. I felt terrible about it." Marcus nodded thoughtfully as if he was considering her explanation. Then he pulled out his phone and pressed a few buttons. "That's very interesting," Marcus said. "Because I just called the building security office downstairs. They have cameras in all the common areas, including the break room. They've agreed to show me the security footage from this morning." The color drained completely from Sarah's face. Jessica made a small gasping sound and grabbed onto the coffee machine to steady herself. Maya felt a surge of satisfaction. She had wondered if there might be security cameras, but she hadn't been sure. Trust Marcus to think of everything. The security guard is bringing the footage up right now. Marcus continued calmly. I'm very curious to see what this accident looked like on camera. Please, Sarah said suddenly, her voice cracking. We didn't mean for it to go this far. We were just frustrated. Jessica started crying, tears running down her cheeks. We're sorry, Maya. We're really, really sorry. We were jealous and we did something stupid. Maya felt surprised to finally hear them tell the truth, but she didn't feel satisfied. The damage was done, and sorry wasn't enough to fix what they had tried to do to her career. Marcus looked at the two crying women with no expression on his face. I see. So you're admitting that this was not an accident. You deliberately tried to humiliate my wife and ruin her presentation. Both women nodded, miserably unable to speak through their tears. Well, Marcus said, I appreciate your honesty, but I'm afraid honesty doesn't solve the problem we have here. Marcus turned to address the entire office again. Maya could see that everyone was hanging on his every word. Peterson Marketing Agency has been struggling financially for the past 18 months, Marcus said. I know this because my company has been watching this agency as a possible investment opportunity. Mr. Davidson's eyes got very wide. Maya could see hope and fear fighting for control of his expression. My business research team told me that Peterson Marketing could be a good addition to my company portfolio, Marcus continued. The location is good. Some of the employees are talented and there are opportunities for growth. Maya heard several people in the office take sharp breaths. If Marcus bought the company, it could save everyone's jobs and bring in lots of new money and opportunities. Unfortunately, Marcus said, and Maya heard the disappointment in his voice. After seeing how my wife has been treated here, I've decided that this company's culture is not compatible with my business values. The hope in Mr. Davidson's eyes died instantly. Around the office, Maya heard people making small sounds of distress as they realized what Marcus was saying. Therefore, Marcus announced, Johnson International Holdings will not be investing in Peterson Marketing Agency. Additionally, we will be ending all business relationships between my companies and this agency. Maya knew what this meant, even if some of her co-workers didn't understand yet. Marcus's business empire was huge, with companies all over the world. Many of Peterson Marketing's biggest clients were connected to Marcus's businesses in some way. Mr. Davidson's face went completely white. Mr. Johnson, please, he said desperately. Those contracts represent more than half of our annual income. Without them, we'll have to close the agency. Then I suggest you think carefully about the kind of workplace culture you want to create, Marcus said simply. A company that allows employees to be bullied and humiliated is not a company I want to do business with. Marcus turned to look at Sarah and Jessica, who were still crying by the coffee machine. As for you two, Marcus said, I will be sending a detailed report of this incident to every major marketing agency in the city. Your names will be included in that report. I think other companies should know what kind of employees you are, Aya. Knew that in the marketing industry, reputation was everything. If Marcus sent that report, Sarah and Jessica would never be able to get good jobs in marketing again. Finally, Marcus turned to Maya. His expression softened as he looked at his wife, and Maya could see the love and protectiveness in his eyes. Mrs. Johnson, Marcus said gently, I believe you had a presentation to give today. However, I think your talents would be much better appreciated elsewhere. I know several excellent companies that would be honored to have someone of your abilities. Maya looked around the office at all her co-workers. Some of them looked shocked, others looked sad, and a few looked angry. But Maya realized that she no longer cared what any of them thought. You're right, Maya said clearly, her voice carrying across the silent office. I do deserve to work somewhere that values respect and professionalism. Maya picked up her personal items from her desk, her coffee mug, her small plant, and the family photos she had kept face down for 2 years. She didn't need to hide anymore. Maya and Marcus walked toward the elevator together. The office remained completely silent. Maya felt a strange mix of sadness and relief. She was sad to leave the job she had worked so hard for, but she was relieved to be done with the stress and negativity. "Are you okay?" Marcus asked quietly as they waited for the elevator. "I'm perfect," Maya said, and she realized it was true. For the first time in months, she felt completely free and happy. 6 months later, Maya was working as the director of client relations at Sterling Communications, the most respected marketing agency in the city. Her salary was twice what she had been making at Peterson Marketing, and her coworkers treated her with respect and kindness. Peterson Marketing Agency had closed permanently after losing all their major clients. Mr. Davidson now worked at a much smaller company for much less money. Sarah and Jessica had both left the marketing industry entirely after being unable to find new jobs. Maya learned that asking for help when you need it doesn't make you weak, it makes you smart. She also learned that true love means having someone who will always stand up for you when the world is unfair. Marcus learned that protecting the people you love doesn't mean solving all their problems for them. It means standing beside them and making sure they have the support they need to succeed. And together, Maya and Marcus learned that some battles are worth fighting, especially when they're about dignity, respect, and doing what's right.